Calgary is a city wedged between two very different planets. Head west and you smash headlong into the Rockies, where Highwood Pass climbs nearly 7,000 feet into the sky, the highest stretch of tarmac in Canada, and one that can make even the dullest car feel heroic. Swing northeast and the world simply falls apart into the Badlands, where gentle prairie tears open into canyons and hoodoos that look less like Alberta and more like Mars with decent Wi-Fi. I set out to thread both of these extremes together in something rather unexpected, the Mercedes GLK250 Bluetec. From the moment I shut the door, it took me straight back to childhood, back to my family's blue W211, a time when Mercs still felt carved from granite and built to outlast civilization itself. I chose to tackle Highwood Pass in the unconventional way, south to north. From the little ranching town of Longview, Highway 541 drifts westward, before joining Highway 40, better known as Highwood Pass. At first the land is flat and unremarkable, but soon the horizon begins to change. Out of the prairies, the Rockies rise sharp and sudden, as though the earth itself has been pinched upward by the fingers of God. The climb here is deceptively gentle, carrying you higher and higher until you crest nearly 7,000 feet above the sea. From there, the road pours back down through alpine valleys, skirting the glassy waters of Barrier Lake before finally spitting you out at the Trans-Canada Highway. On the highway run down to Longview, the Merc revealed its true calling. A solid, unflappable Autobahn cruiser, built to carry you effortlessly no matter how far or fast. At around 200,000 kilometers on the clock, it should have been tired, creaky, and complaining about life. Instead, it felt indestructible. Every button and switch clicked with the same stubborn resistance as the day it rolled off the line. And the cabin still smelled like an old Merc, that peculiar smell of leather polish and quiet superiority. Modern SUVs could take some notes. As Highway 541 became Highway 40, the flatlands disappeared and the Rockies heaved into view. Soon after driving through some amazing alpine scenery, I pulled over into a little cutout which felt more like Switzerland and less like Canada. Leaving that lone cow behind, I headed north, as the road climbed onward to its highest point. And I must say, the GLK's column-mounted shifter took a little getting used to. And it had been a long time since I drove a car that did not disengage the parking brake every time I shifted into drive. And every time I made a turn in the bends, it was so refreshing to hear an actual relay clicking on and off. And these quirks really made me smile. At the highest point, I took a peek at the Merc's beating heart, which had gotten me there. The 2.1-litre twin-turbocharged 4-cylinder diesel engine, putting out around 200 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, was a very smooth, nondescript power plant. Solidly rugged, dependable, even if not very exciting. The descent from the highest point northward was rather uneventful, except for the stunning scenery, and a run-in with the GLK's spirit animal, a little mountain goat. At the bottom of the pass, I took a moment at Barrier Lake before heading east past Calgary into the Badlands. Driving into the Badlands, I felt as though I'd been beamed down from the USS Enterprise onto a foreign planet. The rolling prairies vanished behind me, and suddenly I was descending into a place that looked like it belonged in a science fiction film. Jagged cliffs, sculpted hoodoos, and rock layers painted in shades of rust and ash. It was otherworldly, surreal, as if nature had been experimenting with landscapes and left this one half-finished. And threading through it all in the GLK with its diesel hum echoing off the canyon walls only heightened the sense that I didn't quite belong there, yet somehow the car did. It was strange to find civilization in such a place. And here I stopped off for a spot of lunch. Post-lunch and after a short drive from the town of Drumheller, I stumbled across a disused mine, which further added to the Star Trek vibes. After a little mooch about, I headed back towards Calgary, and the Badlands disappeared just as quickly as they had arrived, and I found myself back in the prairies. As I cruised back through Calgary's suburbs, the amber glow of the setting sun bouncing off the GLK square shoulders, I couldn't help but think, cars were built differently back then. Even just 10 years ago, they had a toughness, a sense of permanence that today's touchscreen-laden SUVs simply can't match. It left me oddly nostalgic for the mid-2010s, a time when Mercs still smelled, felt, and drove like they'd been engineered to outlast us all. These days, most new SUVs seem engineered to outlast their lease agreements.
There's a diner by the highway, boarded up in gray.